last gasp for Edmonton. Bouchard's pass didn't click with Draisaitl. 12 seconds to go. Florida trying to end it up against the wall, which would be fitting. 3 seconds to go. The Florida Panthers have won the Stanley Cup. For the first time in their 30-year history, the Florida Panthers are Stanley Cup champions. They made it about as hard on themselves as they possibly could, battling a valiant Edmonton team that had rallied from adversity all season long. And Paul Maurice, coaching lifer, 30 years in the National Hockey League, has his Stanley Cup.
What the puck is going on?
Here is your host of What the Puck is Going On, Dave Metzger.
All right, welcome back in to What the Puck is Going On. We're back here on a Monday after a nice day off for opening day. Steve, that was fun. Some good baseball there. How'd you enjoy your opening day?
Oh, man, I feel like it's been this last weekend lasted a month. I mean, maybe not. Time flies by so fast, but so many great sporting events on. Maybe the Final Four could have been a little bit more exciting on Sunday. But like you said, with all the baseball, the NHL, of course, now, as we are at the doorstep of the playoffs for that. And the Masters coming up as well. Golf's been very entertaining. NASCAR, fun. So busy sports weekend. And Dave, I've noticed that, and maybe we'll start to see some angles with that tonight too as well, that I feel like there have been more blowouts and higher scoring games in the NHL lately. I know we're getting to the end of the season. Some of these teams packing it in. Maybe you get some AHL players you want to take a look at. But it's in the water. I'm starting to see a bunch of scores. We saw it in D.C. yesterday with 13 goals. And I mentioned it on the show a few weeks back. We've been hard-pressed to get games with 10 goals. Now we're starting to see them on the regular. And if you're looking for teams to win by margin and significant margin, you're getting that as well. The Kings last night, 8-1 winners over San Jose.
Yeah, Steve, that's definitely something we'll have to take a look at. 4 games on the slate tonight, and I'll go ahead and note that 3 of them, the over-under is 5.5. Only the last game of the evening is at a 6.5. These games kind of hard to handicap. I took a look, but maybe we'll find something else here as we go along. Playoffs about 3 weeks away, so let's go ahead and get into the standings, kind of get this playoff picture started. The Atlantic Division, Toronto Maple Leafs there with 94 points. They sit atop that division. Tampa and Florida, the in-state rivals there, both locked up at 91. Tampa Bay would have the home ice advantage right now. Got to figure that works in their favor. And Tampa Bay is having great success at the moment on home ice. So that would help their cause in taking down the defending Stanley Cup champs even better. But, Steve, the top 3 here in the Atlantic, still very interesting in my eyes. I still think Tampa could rise up and take this division. They're not very far back, just 3 points. That's really not all that much. Still about 10 or so games left to play with these teams sitting at about 73, 74. So maybe some with 8, some with 9. But Steve, what are your thoughts there in the Atlantic, and is the top spot open for any of these three teams?
Look, 27-8-2, Dave. You said it yourself. Look at that record at home for Tampa Bay. I mean, that is ultra impressive. The only other two teams that are comparable, really, actually, you have a third team with Dallas and for another team with Winnipeg comparable. But I was looking down in the Pacific with the Kings. They've only lost 4 times in regulation at home, 4 in overtime. The Vegas 27-7-3. Again, the Jets 28-6-4. Dallas 27-7-2. So that home ice for Tampa Bay has been very, very impressive with their 27-8-2. They are arguably the hottest team, although Toronto's finding ways to win these close games that they need to against like Anaheim late last night. 3 in a row winners now for Tampa Bay. And they are one of those teams that are winning by margin here in the last couple of weeks. So I think it's a full green light for them. They can definitely snag the top spot here. Let me go ahead and take a look at their schedule real quick here. Let's see what we got with them. Let's see if this is going to be doable. So Tampa Bay, right now, they have coming up, let's see, tomorrow night at the Islanders. Then they're at Ottawa, at Buffalo, and at the Rangers. Then they'll get Toronto at home, which is going to be a huge game a week from Wednesday. Then they'll get Detroit at home, Buffalo, and Florida, and then finish the season out at the Rangers. So not the easiest of schedule, but they do have Buffalo twice. They do get Toronto at home. They get Detroit, who likely will have the towel thrown in by then if they haven't already. And we'll see what kind of Rangers team shows up for them. So a good chance, I think, for Tampa Bay actually to snag that top spot. Let's look at the Toronto schedule just real quick and see how they finish off, because that's going to be the key for them. They have Florida at home against Columbus, at Florida, at Tampa, versus Montreal, at Carolina, at Buffalo, versus Detroit. I think these next 6 games are brutal for Toronto. So that's going to be a good test for their playoff bound selves. And let's say they do very well in this next 6-game stretch. They'll probably have a good enough lead to where they can probably sit some guys in their final 2 games that last week at Buffalo and versus Detroit, and be very, very healthy going into the playoffs. So key hard games coming up. I would give Tampa Bay a chance for sure, Dave, to try to snag that division.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to see them win that. Let's get Toronto and Florida in a pretty heavyweight matchup there. First round would pay some dividends there for Tampa if they can draw one of those wild card teams. So, Steve, in the Metro, we have the Caps still leading this division. They're locked up in a playoff spot. 103 points for them. Carolina with 94. And New Jersey sitting right there at 85. So, figure that's about going to be their spot. Most likely on the road for them for the playoffs. We'll see how that works out for them. I feel like they're kind of a hot and cold team there. So, Steve, about the same thing we thought here in the Metro. Any concerns here with any of these teams?
Not really. I mean, the Capitals have lost 3 in a row. They're going to get the bad hockey out now, as they say. They're still one of your better teams in the NHL. 24-8-6 for them at home. So, I mean, they're definitely a very good home team. They're good road team, 23-9-3 on the road. They've been able to hold Carolina around this 9-10 point distance here for the last several weeks. They've called a playoff. They've already clinched a playoff spot. So maybe that's weighing into their poor play here the last 3 times out. But they are on the cusp of winning a division. It looks like that could probably happen their next time out, as I think that point lead should be big enough to where Carolina can't come back. That should if my math's correct, that should be the case with both of these teams playing 73 games apiece. So I think it's cruise control mode for the Capitals going into the playoffs here. You might see some more. I know Livy's trying to get the goal streak and all that. But what's more important here, having a nice, healthy Capitals team going into the playoffs or trying to get that streak? I think Ovechkin would say that going into the playoffs here is they can really make some noise. I think it's cruise control for the Capitals here on out. Kane, same way, in second place. The Devils can't catch them. The interesting stuff happens at the bottom of this conference, Dave.
Right. And we'll get into that here right now with the wild card. Ottawa with 84 points. And, Steve, I think they're going to stay in that number one wild card spot. I'm pretty confident to say that that's probably theirs at this point, which is going to leave one more spot open.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, whatever the NHL MVP equivalent is, Brady Tkachuk should get some points here. He single-handedly, you feel like, has kind of carried this team. He always gets the first goal for the Senators. And they've been on a nice tear here, 6-3-1 in their last 10. And yes, they pulled away from the pack of the other contenders here at the bottom.
Right. So playoff bound, it looks like for Ottawa. That's good. You like to see teams like that get in. Montreal is holding on to that final wild card spot there with 77, Steve. The Rangers right on their heels, tied with 77 as well. There's Columbus hanging around with 75. They're not done yet either. Detroit, they have something to say still at 74. New York Islanders was 74 as well. And then really the last relevant team, I think, is Pittsburgh. They won a couple games in a row. They got hot here recently. They have 71 points. It's going to take some work for them, and they're going to have to keep that hot streak alive, but they are technically still alive. Steve, we've solidified that Ottawa's probably on the way to the playoffs. The rest of these guys, it's all up for grabs here in the last games. Who do you like here? Does Montreal
This is tough.
hold that spot?
Yeah, I like Montreal. Man, they've been a fantastic watch. And a fun team to watch, too, as well. As bad as the Rangers have coughed things up here in the first half of the season, first 2/3 of the season even, here they are. They can sneak on in. And from there, it's just they wipe the slate clean. Can you imagine that after the season the Rangers have? They get on in the playoffs and they play the Capitals in the first round. Interesting stuff here. The Blue Jackets have 2 extra games left to play as well. I mean, they're still playing for some kind of nostalgic factor, I think. But 3-6-1 is just not going to cut it. The Rangers 4-5-1 in their last 10. Montreal grabbing those important points from overtime, 4-3-3 in their last 10. Even though the Islanders have lost 5 in a row, they've still been able to get 3 points from overtime, which that's going to be the difference here at the end probably when it's all said and done. I'm not sure who the favorite is, Dave. This is tough. I can make a case for Montreal, the Rangers, or the Blue Jackets. I think it's one of those three. If a team like the Red Wings or the Islanders sneak up and grab it, that would be a little bit surprising to me, perhaps, just because how schizophrenic those two teams are, and the Islanders just don't really have much sustained offense. Just 202 goals on the season, worst in the conference. So at some point, that's got to catch up to them, I think. But as far as goal scoring and goals allowed, I mean, these teams are somewhat close if you're averaging all together. Montreal, the Rangers, and Blue Jackets. No pick for me, Dave. Who's going to make that playoff spot? But it should be a fun watch down the stretch.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough pick there, Steve. You could make a case for any of them, and maybe even Detroit as well if they can just kind of string a couple together. or maybe take a couple games into overtime as well.
Well, we have a few minutes, and so we only have 4 games on the slate. So let me run through the schedules real quick for these 3. Columbus is home against Nashville, home against Colorado, at Toronto, at Ottawa, home against Ottawa, versus Buffalo, back-to-back with the Caps on a Saturday and Sunday. Day game Saturday, 6 p.m. game on Sunday, at the Flyers, and then home against the Islanders. That is no easy task right there. That sounds like a pretty tough schedule if you ask me, especially playing the Caps twice, as well as that Ottawa twice as well. And then if we look at the Rangers, have versus Minnesota, at New Jersey, versus Tampa, versus Philly, at the Islanders, at Carolina, at Florida, versus Tampa. Not an easy path for them. I mean, that's
not at all
a stingy path. I mean, these teams are going to have to earn it. And then if we look at Montreal's schedule, let's just see if this is favorable for them. Whereas it's hard to say that there's overall favorable schedule, as no one in the Eastern Conference has been eliminated from playoff contention. I wonder if this is the latest that's ever happened in the season, Dave.
Yeah,
Considering we're a bit less than 10 games to go and everyone's still alive, I can't remember the last time that's happened.
Well, yeah, Steve. I mean, and they're all right there within 1, 2, maybe 3 points. I mean, it's going to be as close as it gets coming down the stretch.
I think I'd want Montreal's schedule the most. Let's see if we agree on that. Home against Florida, tough. Home against Boston. Home against Philadelphia. At Nashville. Home against Detroit. At Ottawa. At Toronto. Home against Chicago versus Carolina.
Yeah, they have some winnable games, but that's not as easy as it could be either, really.
No, some of those straggler games, not even straggler games, but, get to overtime against Toronto, get to overtime against Ottawa. At least if you can do that, that gives you a boost up in this competition, I think.
Right, yeah, you got to get your points. You figure you at least got to play games to get them into overtime.
All right,
so
that's all I got on that.
Out in the West, we have the Central with Winnipeg with 106 points. They're the first team. I think they're probably going to end up winning this division. Dallas now locked into a playoff spot as well. Second there in the Central, 100 points for them. And Colorado in the third spot in the Central with 93 points. A nice resurgence from them, knocking off Minnesota. So, Steve, what do you like there? I mean, there's going to be – can you imagine if we get a Dallas and Colorado first-round matchup? I mean, a true Stanley Cup contender is going home very early. So maybe that's kind of a playoff seeding issue for the NHL. They used to go 1 through 8, and it's similar to that now, but now it's structured to really get more divisional matchups there in those rounds. 1 through 8, I think, would be much better formatted, but nonetheless, Steve, I mean, that could be an absolute heavyweight first-round matchup.
Absolutely. You're seeing some of the best hockey that the Avalanche have had all season long. Dallas, they haven't missed a step. They've won 5 in a row. The Jets, just when you think they're reeling a little bit, here they are. They won 3 in a row. So I agree with you. I think the Jets hold on to this division. Dallas will stay in second. But it's going to come to playoff time with these 3. One of these teams is likely, like you said, bound to get bounced in the first round. And it's going to be something. I mean, we are 2.5 weeks away from absolute NHL mayhem happening on the ice, Dave. Hopefully the fans realize that, because that's what we're going to get with these 3 and this kind of thing. like you just said.
I can't wait for the playoffs, Steve. This is going to be a really good tournament. In the Pacific, Vegas leading this division still with 98 points. They're 7 points clear of second place LA with 91. I think that's probably going to end up being the story there. I see Vegas winning this division. Edmonton in third with 89 points. So you're looking at a LA and Edmonton first round matchup. Again, two more teams that can probably contend. Somebody's going home early. Steve, what do you think about this Pacific?
Hey, the Vegas has had the quietest 6-game winning streak to me. Because I just think of Vegas as Vegas and a good team. Here they are. They won 6 in a row again. 7-1-2 in their last 10. So they're on fire. All these teams are playing good. The Kings are playing good. The Edmonton, I think, is just, as long as they get their full complement of players back, which I think they do have, Draisaitl and McDavid rolling at this point. I know they sat out last week at some point. But at the end of the day, it's going to be Edmonton with their goaltending. How's that going to fare in the playoffs? We shall see. And the lack of offense by the Kings, are they going to be able to produce in the playoffs?
Right.
They don't let you score. They've only allowed 186 goals on the season, which is fantastic. The only team better than that is Winnipeg right now, allowing just 173. So, again, you're going to have a lot of contrasting styles here and type of play. But a lot of times these teams are going to kind of mirror each other when it comes to the playoff hockey. When I see something like Minnesota, the Kings, I think under. When I see Dallas and the Kings, I think under. When I see Vegas and Winnipeg, I think under. It's going to be interesting to see the totals for these games in the playoffs. And I don't want to jinx it, but these are going to be some tightly contested games.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just think they're going to be low scoring.
The talent, is going to keep this stuff really close here. Now, the wild card out west, Steve, is pretty interesting in the fact that Minnesota is holding the first spot with 87. But don't look now, Steve, tied with them for 87 points, the St. Louis Blues holding the second spot, arguably one of the hottest teams within the past month.
Nine wins in a row, Dave.
Right, rising from the ashes where, we had them maybe left for dead. And there's still some time, Steve, but they're trying to put this to rest, this playoff race. Vancouver is your next closest opponent with 81 points. That's wow, Steve. That's quite the gap at this point. Calgary has 80, Utah was 78, and Anaheim not yet eliminated, but figure there's just no way at this point with 72 points. So, Steve, wild card race, very, very different out west. In my mind, you can almost go ahead and lock that up. What do you think there?
Well, the one wild card here is going to be the games played, and St. Louis is only one of a handful of teams here who has played 75 full games. Let's take a look at their schedule because they only have 7 games left to play, and like you said, every game is going to be key to hold on to that lead here. The Blues' schedule is this, and they are the grand reckoner of this Western playoffs for sure, Dave. If there's anyone who's going to upset the apple cart, as they say, as far as lower scoring games go, it's going to be the Blues who can come in with a little bit of firepower and, mix things up a little bit crazier than what we're saying here. They have Detroit at home, Pittsburgh at home against Colorado, at Winnipeg, at Edmonton, at Seattle versus Utah. I have them with probably 3 of 4 wins there, right? Against Detroit, Pittsburgh, Seattle, and Utah.
Yeah.
All right. So that gets them to, And let's say they get one other point from overtime. So that's going to add 7 points to their total. And, of course, I got onto the Maple Leafs schedule somehow. Let me get back to the standings.
I think that's going to be good enough.
Yeah, that's going to be good enough is what I'm trying to get at, right? As far as what they have a 6-point lead right now.
6 points up on Vancouver.
Okay, so let's take a look at the Canucks schedule. If I can get back to my main page here.
But the Canucks are going to need help, and that's not going to be good for them.
No, not really. Not from a team that's been as sluggish as them. All right, Vancouver. I mean, do they even play a game this week? Here we go. I had to go to Saturday to find them, but I'm sure I skipped over them. Vancouver's schedule is as such. Well, they have 8 games left to play, so it's not like they have a lot extra. Seattle, Anaheim, Vegas, Dallas, at Colorado, versus Minnesota, versus San Jose, versus Vegas. There's wins in there, Dave, but that's tough sledding.
I just don't think there's enough of them.
Calgary has 72 games played. Are you looking at the standings right now? Is that true?
Yep. 72
they played. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they have 10 games left. They'd be the next one you would think has a chance, and then that's it. At Colorado, at Utah, versus Anaheim, versus Vegas, at San Jose, at Anaheim, versus Minnesota, versus San Jose, versus Vegas, at the Kings. So they have Anaheim twice and San Jose twice. They have Utah once. And then they get some Minnesota, some Kings, and Vegas a couple of times. I think St. Louis holds them off, but man, what is the futures number on this for Calgary to make the playoffs? Because they're only 4-1. I don't think that's playable. I would like to 10-1 on that.
That's not enough.
Yeah, not enough. Okay.
Yeah, if it was 10-1, we could definitely give that a ride, but I just don't think St. Louis is going to let that happen with the way that they've kind of came back.
I like the Blues
there it is.
To play the last spot, yeah. They'll get the last spot, I think.
And I'll tell you what, a team as hot as that, that's a buzzsaw you're running into there at playoff times. They're going to be a tough out, too. Figure they're going to get probably Winnipeg or Vegas. But still, I think that they're going to play those two teams tough, and they're not just going to roll over in round one. So interesting to see what we can get with St. Louis coming down the road here. So, Steve, that's the playoff picture in its whole right now. Those are the standings. Let's go ahead and jump in to this slate this evening. We'll start here with Minnesota in New Jersey to take on the Devils. You're over under here, 5.5, plus 114 for the over, minus 135 for the under. Let's take a look at the goaltending matchups here. Gustafsson is going to be in goal for the Wild. He has played really, really well for them. The Wild do have a decent tandem in goal going into the playoffs. So they do have that going for them. I definitely see them in some lower scoring games as well. Markstrom in goal for the Devils. I just don't know what to think about them at times. Steve, this is obviously the first game that I looked at. Boy, I don't know between these two, honestly. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be a no play. This is just a tough one for me to figure out.
It's probably a no play, but they just played. New Jersey beat them 5-2 in Minnesota. Now they're at home. So I think it's cheap enough at minus 152 if you want to try to parlay a few things together. If you want to take a chance on the puck line, I guess I can't shame you on that. Minnesota had such a hard time scoring goals that I think the Devils at home in this scenario, which they don't really have much to play for, does either team. I mean, they're kind of almost cemented in their standings. They could
Right.
waver one spot or another for the most part. But I would lean Devils at home here, Dave, but not super thrilled about the game, like you said.
No, just it's not the best line wise, and I just think you got to kind of have to work harder than you need to find something good in that one. The next game here, Nashville taking on the Flyers. This one's in Philly. Another 5.5 there for you. Minus 118 for the over. Minus 102 for the under. Let's see what the goaltending matchups are here. Fedotov there for the Flyers. I don't have a goalie on record right now for Nashville. Steve, do you see anybody in net for Nashville tonight?
Let's see here. I have the Flyers goalie.
Okay, so no goalie listed yet for drawing a blank there for Nashville. Let's see here, Steve. Flyers have won 2 in a row. Nashville's lost 2 in a row. Only 2 wins in their last 5. I don't know. See, I mean, this is the kind of stuff you're getting here this evening. Steve, I don't really like any bit of this one way or the other. It feels like a game that maybe the Flyers win, but you see they let a ton of goals in by Buffalo the other night. So just when you think maybe they have the game in hand at home, here comes Nashville, who we know hasn't been doing well at all. Next thing you know, they're winning this game 4-3, and it's just as backwards as it could be, as one might think. So this is a really another tough one to handicap, Steve. Another reason for a no play in this.
I think I will lean with Nashville over 2.5 goals, just because of what you said. The Flyers can give up a ton of goals. Nashville is not exactly your offensive juggernaut, but this is a Philly team who's down. Not out of it officially, but they will be probably after tonight. And the Nashville, as bad as their season has been, maybe they're looking for a little bit of a glimmer of hope here to round things out. So maybe slightly the more motivated team, the away team, the Predators, which is overall an awful hockey game if you want to just, not lie to ourselves about it. But I would lean Nashville over 2.5 goals.
All right, so we'll at least take something out of it. Yeah, you said it best, Steve. What a just a bad hockey game, and I can usually put one on and watch it. This is just not one of them. It won't be going up on the TV. So let's go to the third game of the evening. Calgary in Colorado facing the Avalanche. Another 5.5 total here. Minus 130 for the over. Plus 110 for the under. So we're expecting some goals here. And I think that's probably fair. We know what Colorado can do. We know what Calgary needs to do. So scoring is going to be important for them. They're going to try and press that issue, I believe. Your goaltending matchup here tonight, Dan Vlader in goal for Calgary and Scott Wedgwood there for Colorado. 2 goalies I feel like that are definitely capable of being scored on. I like maybe a 5-3 type outcome. I think Colorado takes it at home. But I think we can see the goals here. Steve, I will get on board with an over 5.5 at minus 130 on this game.
Yeah, I think you can get to that easily. I like the Colorado goals, at least from the standpoint to where if they are in a winning scenario or even winning by 2 goals, you're going to see the Flames pull their goalie fast. The Flames need points. So they're not going to play around in terms of trying to score goals at the end of the game. They'll do what they have to. So we could see some wonky scenarios because of that here at the end. I do like your overplay, Dave. I think 5.5 over is a good one. I'll take the Avalanche over 3.5 team goals myself.
All right, I like it. So definitely easier to find some angles there in that game. Again, knowing what Calgary needs to do, knowing who Colorado is. So definitely can jump on board with some stuff there in that one. Last game of the evening there, Steve. This one's going to be, and I don't know why it would do that. All right, Dallas is in Seattle to take on the Kraken. You're over under. Here's the 6.5 for the evening. I don't know. I feel like that should probably be a 5.5 as well. Minus 108 for the over, minus 112 for the under. I get it. The Stars could probably score a bunch on Seattle, but I don't see the Stars giving that many to Seattle. Does Seattle help enough for that 6.5 cause? I don't think so. Let's take a look at the goaltending matchups, and I think that'll kind of.
Well, I see the Smith for Dallas. Yeah,
Yep,
so no
Smith for
odds here
Dallas.
tonight. Yeah.
All right, well, that could change things. I don't have a goalie on record for the Kraken at the moment. But, Steve, my gut is telling me that, Dallas is the better team. I think, in their minds, they still want to get some points as well. So let's shut down a Seattle Kraken team that they know that, they can do that to them. Under 6.5, minus 112 is where you'll find me.
I'll take Dallas over 3.5 goals on minus 112. I think they can get to 4. Like you said, Seattle gets 1 or 2. So this game plays under, but I think Dallas gets there still. And that's a nice little matchup with the ticket I got going, I think, right now with Dallas over 3.5, Colorado over 3.5, Nashville over 2.5. Right now that pays almost 5-1. Let's see if I want to throw New Jersey in there. I won't take the Jersey goals because I don't need to. Let's get a little frisky on the minus 1.5. Actually, let's take Jersey in the 60-minute line. That way we don't have to worry about covering that extra goal because I'm still getting plus 105. But now I can get 11-1 on the Devils 60-minute line. Nashville over 2.5 team goals, and Colorado, Dallas both over 3.5. I think I like that play, Dave.
Yeah, Steve, I could jump on board with you on that one. Now, if we're thinking maybe Dallas gets theirs and Seattle contributes maybe 1 or 2, Steve, how about something a little bit different that we don't usually do or talk about too much? And that would be a 4-2 correct score for Dallas at 20-1. Could you throw a couple bucks on that if you wanted to?
Yeah, why not? Why not throw a $5 on it if you got it to spend, or even $2 to win 40 is nice little lunch money for a few days.
Yeah, there you go. Buy a little lunch there on your lunch break at work. All right, Steve, let's take a quick look at these futures. Should they be any different? I don't know that they will be. Do you have an injury report? Do we want to do that here? We probably
Sure.
should
Let me
have did
see.
that earlier, but
Let's see what we got. All right, let me see if I get
the
a
Lightning
team.
plus 310 to win their division too.
I'll try to do this somewhat briefly.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's anything that kind of stands out. Jordan Stahl is now day-to-day for Carolina. Let's see. Joel Kiviranta for Colorado. Lower body. He's out for a couple of days here. Peter Mrazek, the goalie for the Red Wings, out. Head injury. So we won't see, probably concussion. Maybe won't see him for the rest of the season. Dmitry Kulikov for Florida. Out at least a week with the upper body injury. Alex Laferriere for the Kings, illness day to day. couple players day to day. Pietrangelo for Vegas day to day. Evgeny Malkin is day to day for the Pins. And then Kupari for the Jets, concussion out for a day or two. And then let's see, Philip Cheadle for Vancouver, concussion as well, out for now. All right, so that's your updated main injury report of teams in that matter. Anyway, it looks It looks like as far as picking on teams go, I don't see anything key injury related there. As far as math injuries, it seems like the Ducks have some injuries issues overall team wise.
All right.
I'll leave it there.
All right, Steve, let's jump into the conference. Everything is pretty much the same as we left it. Eastern Conference, Panthers are 3-1. The reigning Stanley Cup champs to repeat. Caps, your next favorite at 5-1. Lightning also at 5-1, as well as Carolina. Toronto plus 550. The Devils 14-1. I think that's a bad pick. I would really stay away from that. 17-1 for the Sens if they can get hot in the playoffs. And then everything else is really kind of far-fetched for me. Steve, any numbers jumping out at you? They're really kind of the same.
I mean, I'm interested in the St. Louis number, 32-1. Obviously, that best number is gone. But you could do some sort of an exact.
At 25-1 right now for me.
Okay. So if you want to do some sort of an exact matchup type of deal, you can. Now, I don't have Ottawa listed on my page. That's interesting. What do you see for Ottawa?
Ottawa is 17-1 to win the conference.
Yeah, I don't even have them on my page. So if I wanted to take someone crazy like St. Louis, even someone like Toronto is going to pay pretty good right now, or Tampa Bay, St. Louis, Tampa Bay. Play around with something like that. I think overall, the other good number you're getting is with the Wild, 20-1. I think right now, even the Kings, I'd like to see a little bit better than 12-1. As all these teams are kind of buried down low with each other. Dallas, Colorado, Edmonton, Vancouver. I mean, they're all right there. Shocking to see Winnipeg's your fifth choice, considering they're the best team in the West.
Yeah, it really kind of
point-wise in the NHL. Yeah. And for the Capitals, for that fact, too. Capitals are your fourth choice. So, respecting the numbers, no respect to the placement.
No, that all seems a little bit off, but I'm sure they know something. All right, Steve, we've got goal scorers. We got the penalty box, and that'll do it. So let's go ahead and start off with the penalty box candidates.
All right.
And you're trying to switch 7 guys. Mike, come on.
You can't do that. That was probably number 10, 2 minutes for rookie.
82, Tampa, tripping.
All right, Steve, I think this one's pretty clear cut. And if you want to agree, if I take the team from you, just go ahead and do it. I think it's got to be the Philadelphia Flyers, a team that should have won the other night. They just allow so many goals. They fire their coach, John Tortorella. He's done. I don't know why you do it at this point, with 10 or so games left. I heard there was an altercation there between coach and a player in the Philly locker room, so Tortorella is gone. And just for all that drama and nonsense and as bad as they've been, Steve, penalty box candidate, it's got to be the Flyers.
I'm going to go ahead and throw the Bruins in there. They've lost 8 in a row. They have 2 wins in their last 10. They've traded away their whole roster. They packed it in. I think they're an instant play against for the rest of the season. And I love our Capitals against them tomorrow night.
Yeah, that should be an excellent bounce back spot for the Caps. Caps end up losing that one. It may be a little bit of worries there after giving up 8 goals, which is just unheard of for the Capitals this year. They've been so good defensively. You think 5 goals in a game is good enough to win you one. It was not last night. So that's got to tighten up, and they'll be looking to get things right there against Philly. So, Steve, I've got some goal scorers. I'm thinking you probably do as well. Let's go ahead and cue that up.
All right.
All right, Steve, I got a little parlay working here. We're going to go with Matthew Boldy from the Minnesota Wild. I think they can get some in there. That's a player for them that the offense is really heavily involved. Saw that there in Washington last time they played the Caps. So we'll go ahead and pick him. He had a pretty good game against the Caps. Again, somebody they like to be heavily involved in the offense there. I'm going to side with you. We'll go with the Nashville tonight. Give a goal there to Steven Stamkos. He's at a plus 225 number. Colorado's Cale Makar, sensational player at plus 285. I think he's always live for one. And Steve, red hot Jason Robertson for the Stars. I think he's capable. He has a ton of goals in his last, I think it was 15 or 20 games. He is absolutely lights out right now. And if you put a fiver on those 5 guys to score, looking at 5 for 513.
Yeah, send me that, Dave. Robertson just plus 160 on my end. I like it, man. I'll go with a star. I'll go with another star who's been pretty hot himself here, and I'll give him another go. And that's Thomas Harley, plus 450 for him. He's kind of a meat grinder type of player, but he can score, and he's been fantastic in those back lines for Dallas. And then go ahead and give me my man Arturi Lankinen as well, again at plus 240. He's been fabulous as of late, taking him as a goal prop scorer. So we'll go ahead and do that again.
All right, I like it. All right, Steve, 4-game slate.
And a couple good games tomorrow night, Dave. We talked about our Capitals and Bruins. The late night slate is pretty good. That's going to be a little West Coast Conference playoff preview with Edmonton and Vegas, and then Winnipeg and the Kings, if you can stay up late for that one on the East Coast. Besides that, it's kind of a bunch of teams almost established where they're at against bad teams. You know, like Ottawa's comfortable, St. Louis fairly comfortable playing Detroit. Lightning are at the Islanders. Montreal and Florida is your other very, very important game tomorrow night. Columbus, they'll get Nashville on the back-to-back. A must win for them tomorrow night at home against the Predators.
Yeah, that's a really good spot for them. So definitely some games to keep an eye on for tomorrow. All right, Steve, I think that's going to do it for us. Anything of note before we head out of here?
We'll do a Sizzle Lean show on Wednesday. We'll do some more What the Puck Thursday night. We will do a bet to the future. Now that we're somewhat past March Madness, we can look more towards some NBA, NHL, and baseball type of plays. And we'll air that Wednesday night as well. And then Inquisition Unknown question mark returning soon.
All right. Well, for us here, What the Puck is going on. I think we found a couple interesting things here on a rather short slate. So if you have anything cooking, good luck, and we'll see you Thursday evening.
Good luck.
What the puck is going on?